My fiancée and her family left for the big trip. 4 cars, 17 people. One group chat without me and my kids. I woke up to an empty house. When I called her, Mom said, "We thought you were meeting us there." I said nothing. 2 hours later, her sister accidentally sent me a screenshot meant for her friend. "He's really not here." OMG, our plan worked. I just replied, "Merry Christmas." Then I quietly canceled the $12,500 booking. And then came step 2. At 8:03 a.m., 101 missed calls. One just said, "Emergency. My name is Marcel. I'm a mechanic, which means I spend my days elbow deep in engines and my nights trying to keep my own life from stalling out." And the morning my fiancé left me behind, it didn't stall. It snapped clean in half. I woke up to a silence that didn't belong in my house. No cartoon theme song from the living room. No little feet slapping down the hallway. No smell of coffee or the faint hum of someone charging a phone in the kitchen. Just nothing. For a second, I thought maybe I'd slept through my alarm and everyone was already up, already out. Then I noticed the coats weren't on their hooks. The shoe rack looked like it had been vacuumed. Even the Christmas stockings, mine, my 2 kids, and my fiancé's, were gone from the mantle like we'd never existed. I walked into the kitchen and the table was bare. No "we'll be back soon." No note. No text. My stomach dropped. I opened our front door and the driveway was empty. Usually, even on a busy day, there's something out there. A car, a neighbor's truck, a delivery van, anything that says the world is still running. That morning, it looked like the world had picked up and left without me. I grabbed my phone. The last thing in our family chat thread was from her mother the night before. "Big trip tomorrow. Everyone be ready early." I'd replied with a thumbs up and a "we're in." Because that's what we were told. That's what we always did. But when I checked the group chat, it wasn't there anymore. Not muted, not archived. Gone. I tried to search it, like a fool, like I could type "family" and summon my place back into existence. Then my fiancé's number popped into my favorites and I hit call. It rang and rang and rang, straight to voicemail. My hands started to shake, and it wasn't the cold. I called her mom. She picked up on the second ring, cheerful like she'd been waiting for me. "Marcel, we're on the road, honey." "What road?" My voice came out rough. "Where is everyone?" There was a pause, like she was calculating how much truth she had to give me. "Oh, you mean you're not already going?" "Already going where?" Another pause. Then she laughed, light, airy, like this was a mix-up about potato salad. "We thought you were meeting us there." Meeting them there. There. 17 people. 4 cars. A big trip. And the one thing they hadn't included was the address. I looked around my empty house again. My kids' backpacks missing. Their winter boots missing. Their toothbrushes missing. My chest tightened. "My kids aren't here," I said. "Where are my kids?" "Oh, sweetheart," her mom said, voice syrupy now. "They're with us. They're fine. We didn't want to wake you. You looked exhausted." I couldn't speak. Because what do you say when someone admits they removed your children from your house while you were asleep? I stared at the wall until the texture blurred. Her mom kept talking, like she could smooth this over with enough words. "Everyone assumed you'd drive separate. You know how chaotic it gets. We had to leave early to make check-in." "Check-in," I repeated. "Oh yes, your fiancé did the booking. It's all set. Don't worry." My mouth tasted metallic. "Put her on, she's driving, then have her pull over." A sigh, an irritated, practiced sigh. "Marcel, please. Don't make this dramatic. It's Christmas. We're trying to have a nice family holiday." Family. I said nothing, not because I agreed, because I was afraid of what would come out if I spoke. Her mom lowered her voice. "Just meet us there, okay? You'll feel silly later once you see everyone having fun." I hung up without saying goodbye. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed. A message from my fiancé's sister, a screenshot. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. Some group chat I'd never seen. A thread title with a little Christmas tree emoji and a name that wasn't mine. Then, my eyes locked onto one line. "He's really not here. OMG. Our plan worked." I read it again. Plan. Worked. My hands went cold. My knees went hot. I didn't call. I didn't scream. I didn't send a paragraph. I didn't ask why. I just typed 2 words and hit send. Merry Christmas. Then I opened my email, found the reservation confirmation, and quietly canceled the $12,500 booking that was sitting under my credit card. And then came step 2. At 8:03 a.m., my phone lit up like a dying star. 101 missed calls, 1 voicemail, 2 words, EM urgency. If you're wondering why I had access to the booking in the first place, it's because I paid for most of their family magic. That was the arrangement no one said out loud. I met my fiancée Lena 3 years ago when she brought her car into my shop with a sound that made every mechanic's spine crawl. Metal on metal, the kind of grind that says, I'm about to cost you a lot. She looked terrified when I showed her the damage. I don't have that kind of money, she said, voice small. Is there any way you can? I should have said no. I should have stuck to business. But she had this softness around her eyes, the kind that makes you want to solve problems. So I worked out a plan. I got her parts at cost. I let her pay in chunks. The first time she brought me cookies as a thank you, she smiled like she'd won the lottery. She didn't ask about my past right away. She didn't treat my kids like a complication. She didn't flinch when my daughter spilled juice on her sweater, or when my son hid behind my leg in that shy way kids do when they're deciding if an adult is safe. For a while, it felt like we were building something real. But Lena didn't come alone. She came with a family that traveled like a marching band, a family that treated togetherness like a religion. Sunday dinners, group chats, cousins who showed up unannounced, family meetings where her mom spoke like a mayor and everyone nodded like voters. At first, I thought it was charming, loud, chaotic love. Then the little comments started. Her sister Tessa had a way of smiling while she cut you open. Oh, Marcel, she'd say, tilting her head, you're so hands-on. Lena's really going for the blue-collar aesthetic. Or, you're lucky Lena's so patient. Not everyone would take on a man with baggage. Baggage. She meant my children. Lena would squeeze my hand under the table like an apology. But apologies don't erase patterns. Her mother loved using the word family the way a mechanic uses a wrench, to tighten whatever she wanted. Family should vacation together. Family doesn't question plans. Family contributes. Contributes meant money, of course. It always does. Lena's family weren't poor. They weren't desperate. They just had expensive taste and a talent for making other people fund it. They'd talk about cruises, ski trips, beachfront condos, like those things just happened if you believed hard enough. And somehow, every time my card ended up involved, it started small. Can you cover the Airbnb deposit? Everyone will pay you back. Can you put the rental van on your card? Points. Can you book the restaurant? You're so good at that stuff. I'm a mechanic. I like systems that make sense. I like clear agreements. But with them, everything was fog. If I asked when I'd be reimbursed, Tessa would raise her eyebrows and laugh. Wow, formal. You're marrying into the family. And you're already invoicing us? And Lena would whisper, please, not tonight. So I swallowed it again and again because I loved Lena. Because my kids had started calling her Lena in that warm way that meant they felt safe. I told myself, this is what you do when you're trying to blend families. You compromise. Then I got promoted at the shop. Nothing fancy, just steadier hours, better pay. I finally felt like I could breathe. That's when her family's expectations upgraded. Now, it wasn't help out. It was cover this. It was you've got it. It was you're the responsible one. And Lena, without meaning to, became the bridge they walked across. Marcel can handle it, she'd say, automatically. She didn't see it. Or she didn't want to. I tried to talk to her a few times. Your mom keeps treating me like an ATM, I said one night while I washed dishes. And Tessa keeps making comments about my kids like they're a stain. Lena frowned, soap bubbles on her hands. They're just intense. That's how they are. How they are, I repeated. And how long am I supposed to take it? She kissed my cheek like that, answered everything. We'll be married soon. It'll settle down. It didn't settle down. It escalated. Christmas was supposed to be the one time my kids didn't feel other. I'd saved up for months. I bought gifts. I scheduled time off. I even fixed Lena's mom's old SUV for free because she mentioned it wasn't running right. And I knew what that meant. She wanted it done before the trip. The trip. The trip that somehow became their crown jewel for the holiday. 4 cars, Lena said. Excited. 17 people. We're doing it like a caravan. And us? I asked. Of course us, she said quickly. You, me, the kids. It'll be amazing. I believed her because I wanted to. The night before they left, Lena was buzzing around the house, packing like she was trying to outrun something. I tucked my kids in, kissed their heads, and told them, tomorrow we're going on an adventure. My son smiled into his pillow. Will there be snow? Probably, I said. And hot cocoa. My daughter yawned. Will Lena's mom be nice? That question hit me harder than it should have. I brushed her hair back. We're going to have fun, I said carefully. And if anyone isn't nice, I'll handle it. I went to bed with that promise sitting in my chest like a weight. And then I woke up to an empty house and a screenshot that said their plan worked. The first voicemail, labeled EMRGNC, came from Lena. Her voice was tight and high, like she was trying not to scream. Marcel, call me back, please. Something happened. We need you. It's an emergency. I didn't call back right away. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the wood grain, breathing like my ribs were too small for my lungs. Emergency. Where was that urgency when they decided to remove my children and leave me sleeping in an empty house? My phone kept ringing. Tessa, Lena's mom. Random numbers I didn't recognize, probably cousins using someone else's phone. At call number 30-something, I finally answered. It was Lena's mom. Marcel, she barked, voice stripped of sweetness. What did you do? I held the phone away from my ear for a second. Her volume could have jump-started a battery. What I did, I said evenly, was cancel a reservation I paid for. A sharp inhale. You can't do that. I already did. Her voice cracked into rage. You ruined Christmas. You ruined trust, I said. She went quiet. Not because she cared, because she was choosing her next weapon. Then she tried the guilt angle, the one they always used. The children are devastated, she said, suddenly trembling. They don't understand why you would do this. My children? I asked. A pause. Not my children. Her grandchildren-in-law, the ones she posted on social media like props. Where are my kids right now? I said. They're safe, she snapped. They're with us. With people who made a plan to exclude me, I said. Great. Marcel, Lena's mom hissed. You need to fix this now. We're stuck. Stuck where? Another pause. Then she said it in a smaller voice, like admitting it hurt. Check-in rejected. The booking's gone. And the other place, the backup, it's full. There's nowhere to stay. I pictured them. 4 cars lined up. 17 people standing in a parking lot with luggage. Their breath puffing in the cold. Their Christmas sweaters suddenly pathetic. And I felt nothing like satisfaction. I felt clarity, because this wasn't a mistake. It was the consequence of a plan. Lena's mom lowered her voice again. We have the kids. They're tired. They're hungry. We need you to rebook something. Anything. We'll pay you back. I almost laughed. Pay me back. The same people who treated my card like a communal spoon. No, I said. Her voice sharpened. Excuse me? No, I repeated. I'm not paying for anything, and I'm not meeting you anywhere until I know why my fiancé took my children without waking me. Don't make this about you, she snapped. I swallowed hard. It's literally about me. You left me out on purpose, she sputtered. That's ridiculous. I cut her off. Your daughter's sister sent me a screenshot saying your plan worked. Silence, not denial. Silence. Then, in the background, I heard someone yell, "Who told him?" The line went dead. For 5 minutes, the call stopped. Then Lena called again. I answered. Marcel, she whispered, like she was afraid someone would hear. Please, just listen. I'm listening. I said. My voice surprised me. Calm, almost gentle, like I was talking to a customer whose car was beyond saving. We didn't mean it like that, she said quickly. Tessa was joking. She's dramatic. Your sister wrote, "Our plan worked," I said. What plan, Lena? She inhaled, shaky. It was supposed to be easier. Easier for who? For everyone, she said, and I heard tears in her voice. My mom she thinks the kids make things complicated. She thinks you do. There it was. Not the whole truth, but the core. They wanted a trip without me, I said slowly. And they decided the way to do that was to take my kids and leave me asleep. Lena sobbed softly. I told them it was wrong. I did. I swear. But you still did it, I said. She went silent. I loved you, I said, and my throat tightened on the word. I still do. But you put my children in a car with people who don't respect their father. They're not in danger, she insisted. They're with family. No, I said quietly. They're with your family. Another silence. Then she said, please, we need somewhere to go. It's freezing. The kids, my heart clenched at that. I pictured my son's chapped lips, my daughter's tired eyes. That's why I'm calling a lawyer, I said. What? Lena choked. I'm also calling the police if you don't tell me exactly where you are, I said. Because you took my children without consent while I slept. And you think I'm going to solve your hotel problem like I'm some roadside assistance plan. Her breathing turned sharp. Marcel, don't do this. I'm already doing it, I said. Then I texted Tessa the screenshot she'd sent me. No words, just the image. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then she called. I answered on speaker because if there was going to be a fight, I wanted the air to hear it too. You're insane, Tessa spat. We have kids here. I have kids there, I said. You're punishing them. No, I said. I'm punishing you. She laughed, brittle and mean. Oh, come on. You were going to show up late anyway. You always do. You're always working, always tired, always acting like your life is so hard. We wanted one trip where Lena didn't have to drag you along like a what? I asked. She didn't answer. She didn't have to. I heard Lena in the background, pleading, Tessa, stop. Tessa ignored her. Lena deserves a real family experience, not your situation. My situation, my children, my life. I felt something inside me shift into place, like a bolt finally catching. Here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to tell me where my kids are. Right now. Tessa scoffed. Or what? Or I report it, I said. And I file for emergency custody. There was a sudden scrambling sound, like the phone was being grabbed. Lena's voice came through, panicked. Marcel, please, don't. Please. Just come, okay? We can talk. We'll fix it. I'm not coming, I said. But I am fixing it. I didn't tell her what step 2 was. I just hung up. Step 2. People think revenge is loud, that it involves yelling and slam doors and dramatic speeches. Mine was quiet. It was paperwork. At 9:30 a.m., I called my cousin, who worked in family law, and asked for a referral. At 10:15, I spoke to an attorney. At 11 o'clock, I filed a temporary emergency order request. Nothing theatrical, just a documented concern. My children had been removed from my home without my knowledge and were being withheld. Then I called the non-emergency police line and asked for a welfare check at the location Lena finally texted me when she realized I wasn't bluffing. Because that's the thing about control freak families. They think you'll fold. They think you'll pay. They think you'll be so scared of conflict that you'll accept anything as long as everyone smiles in photos. But I spend my life fixing things that break because someone ignored the warning signs. I don't ignore warning signs anymore. When the officer called me back, he sounded professional, neutral. Your children are safe, he said. They're with the mother and extended family at a rest stop near the highway. There's some tension. Tension? I echoed. He hesitated, like he was choosing language. There's a dispute about lodging and finances, he said. And the adults are arguing. The children seem upset. My stomach twisted. Can I speak to them? I asked. The officer paused, then said, the mother is allowing a phone call. A moment later, my daughter's voice came through, small and tired. Daddy? My throat burned. Hey, sweetheart. Are you okay? Yes, she whispered. But Lena's mom is yelling. My son grabbed the phone next. Dad, where are you? Why aren't you here? I'm home, I said. I'm getting you back. There was a soft sniff. Did we do something wrong? No, I said firmly. You didn't do anything wrong. None of this is your fault. I heard Lena's voice, shaky. Marcel, please. I cut in, gentle but unmovable. I'm coming for the kids. Not for you. Not for them. For the kids. Then I spoke to Lena directly, voice low. You have one chance to do the right thing, I said. Bring them home with me peacefully. Her breath hitched. My mom. I don't care about your mom, I said, and it felt like ripping off a bandage. I care about my children. I arrived 2 hours later, my truck humming steady, like it was the only stable thing in my world. They were there, huddled near a vending machine. Lena holding both kids close, like she was trying to prove she belonged in the picture. Her mom saw me, and her face twisted. Tessa's eyes widened, and Lena looked like a person standing on the edge of a bridge, realizing the water below isn't forgiving. You embarrassed us, her mother hissed as I approached. I didn't even look at her. I knelt in front of my kids. Get your jackets, I said softly. We're going home. My daughter clung to me like she'd been holding her breath for hours. My son's hands trembled as he grabbed my sleeve. Lena stepped forward. Marcel, please, just talk to me. I stood up slowly. I will, I said, with lawyers present. Lawyers? Over a misunderstanding? I finally looked her in the eye. A misunderstanding is forgetting someone's coffee order, I said, not deleting them from a family chat and stealing their children before dawn. Tessa scoffed, trying to regain her swagger. Oh my God, drama king. I held up my phone, the screenshot glowing on the screen. Our plan worked, I read aloud. Tessa's face drained. Her mother's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Lena whispered, Tessa. I turned to Lena, voice quiet. You were going to marry me, I said, and you let them treat me like a guest in my own life. Tears slid down her cheeks. I didn't know how to stop them. That's the problem, I said. You didn't stop them. You joined them. I opened my truck door, buckled my kids in with hands that didn't shake anymore. Then I looked back one last time. Merry Christmas, I said. Not sweetly, not cruelly. Just final. And I drove away. The first week after that felt like walking out of a burning building and realizing you still smell like smoke. Lena's family tried everything. Her mom called crying, then screaming, then pretending she'd never screamed. Tessa tried a different angle. Venom disguised as pity. You're really going to traumatize the kids like this? Over a trip? I didn't answer. Lena showed up at my door 2 days later with red eyes and shaking hands. I'm sorry, she whispered. I wanted to pull her in. I wanted to believe her. But my son stood behind my leg, peeking out like he was measuring whether she was safe. And my daughter didn't move from the couch. That's when I understood something in a way I couldn't unknow. Love doesn't matter if it endangers your children's peace. I'm not punishing you, I told Lena quietly. I'm protecting them. She nodded like she'd been hit. I'll do anything, she said. Therapy, boundaries, no contact with my mom. Whatever you want. I watched her hands, empty. No gifts, no grand gestures, no proof. Just words. Then start by telling the truth, I said. To everyone. She swallowed. My mom will. I don't care, I said again. Tell them you lied. Tell them you took the kids without waking me. Tell them it was a plan. Lena's face crumpled. She left without promising. That was an answer. In the weeks that followed, my house became calmer than it had been in years. I built new routines, pancakes on Saturdays, movie nights, helping my daughter with her spelling words at the kitchen table while my son lined up toy cars in perfect rows. At the shop, I worked with a focus that felt like relief. Engines made sense. Problems had causes. Fixes had steps. People, on the other hand, always tried to rewrite the manual after they'd crashed the car. My lawyer helped me formalize custody arrangements. Nothing dramatic, just clarity, stability, a line in the sand. Lena kept calling. Sometimes she'd leave voicemails that sounded like she was trying to be brave. I miss you. I miss the kids. I'm sorry. I didn't block her, not because I wanted to keep the door open, because I wanted a record. Her family, though, they learned the hard way what it meant when the responsible one stopped paying for their fantasies. I heard through the grapevine they ended up sleeping in 2 cramped motel rooms that night, the kind that smells like old carpet and regret. I heard Lena's mom had to put it on her own card and nearly maxed it out. I heard Tessa blamed Lena for letting me cancel the booking. And I heard something else, weeks later, from a cousin of theirs who worked at a bank. You know, Lena's mom applied for a loan, he said. Got denied. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt validated. Because people who live off other people's kindness always call it love. Until the kindness stops, then they call it cruelty. On New Year's Day, my kids and I drove to a small hill outside town where you can see the whole city lit up at night. We brought hot cocoa in a thermos and sat wrapped in blankets in the bed of my truck. My son leaned against my shoulder. Are we still a family? He asked. The question hit me in the same place my daughters had. Yes, I said firmly. We are. But Lena, my daughter started. I exhaled slowly. Lena made choices, I said. And those choices hurt us. That doesn't mean we don't deserve love. It means we choose better love. The wind tugged at the edge of my blanket. The city lights blinked like tiny promises. I thought about that empty house, that missing group chat, the screenshot. Our plan worked. It did work. For a moment. It revealed what they really believed. That I was optional. That my kids were accessories. That my money was expected. That my presence was negotiable. But their plan also did something else. It woke me up. Not from sleep, from a pattern. I'm a mechanic. I know what happens when you ignore the warning light. The engine doesn't suddenly forgive you because it's Christmas. It breaks. So you fix it properly, or you stop driving it. That night, I looked at my kids' faces in the glow of the city and made a quiet promise, the kind that doesn't need applause. I will never let anyone treat us like we don't belong, I said. My son sipped cocoa and nodded like he understood more than he should at his age. My daughter whispered, okay. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something settle inside me. Not guilt, not anger, peace. Because I wasn't their bank anymore. I wasn't their backup plan. I was just Marcel, a dad, a mechanic, and the person who finally learned that love without respect is just another kind of debt.